Let's get razzled.
Razzle dazzled.
Oh,
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about the Matrix tonight.
Who are we?
I mean, do the people need to know who we are?
I'm Trevis. That's who I am. Getting razzled on white wine and the Matrix.
ooh, white wine. You don't say.
Okay, I'm Terry. I'm also drinking white wine because I'm classy like that.
Look at you.
Mm-hmm. We're the classy boys of this podcast.
I'm Bill, and I currently do not have a drink.
That was your mistake, not starting with the drink.
I'll start the whole podcast over. We've done it wrong.
Son of a bitch. All right, so
Yeah, Billy, this was your idea. Say something about the Matrix.
That's true. I kind of feel like the first thing we should have mentioned was that we were reviewing the Matrix tonight, but you know.
yeah, reviewing the Matrix. Well, discussing the first Matrix movie. Well, let's just start things off. What was the most impactful scene for you guys? Or most memorable scene, I guess, not impact.
There were a couple scenes that essentially became very iconic.
Oh, for me, it was definitely when Neo and Trinity just decide to armor up and go save Morpheus, and they go into that building right before they go up the elevator and blow it up.
Oh,
they have to walk through that lobby area and just, well, I'm gonna say it. They just shoot up a bunch of cops. that's what happens.
That is exactly what happens. Yeah,
and it was pretty great.
Honestly,
there were flips and bullets, and I liked it.
No one's gonna take that out of context. That it was pretty great that they shot a bunch of cops.
My favorite part was the cop shooting.
Yep, someone's gonna record that. Someone's taking that out of context.
They were attacking security officers.
That's true. They were security guards, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were murdering Paul Blarts.
Jesus.
I like to think they were killing mall cops.
They were heavily armed mall cops.
They were extremely heavily armed. I don't know why the mall cops were so heavily armed.
Well, after a certain while, the SWAT actually came in. Well,
yeah, I think it started off with them just offing some security guards, but then SWAT definitely shows up.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. So
then that was the agent, but that was.
So that was your most memorable moment. Let's just think here. There were a couple the scene where they first start doing bullet time, all the bullet time scenes were pretty iconic because every movie afterwards had bullet scenes in it for years. But those were not my favorite moments, mostly because they just never stopped with those goddamn bullet slow down times. After a while, it got kind of annoying after every movie did it after them. So I always like the part where Neil sees the cat and then he's walking along and then he sees the cat again and he pauses and he's like, what? And they look back and they're like, Neo, what are you doing? And he's like, I just saw that cat. And they're like, oh shit. And he's like,
deja vu.
And they're like, what? It's like, oh, the agents are around here somewhere. Isn't that wasn't that what it signified? There's a glitch in the system, which meant the agents were nearby.
Whenever there's deja vu, it's supposed to be a glitch in the system.
Yeah, I always thought that was really cool. That's they explain how deja vu works.
You suppose if a guy sneezed and then he just sneezed again a couple seconds later, like a normal person, he's like, oh crap, I already did this. Oh no.
But yeah, that part I never forgot that part. And they're like, yeah, agents, man. And I'm like, whoa, that's so cool that they explained deja vu. Billy, what was your most memorable part?
Well, for me, it's kind of it's a toss up between two of them. Shut up. But one of my favorite moments is when Neo first starts believing and he actually fights Smith.
When he had a Super Saiyan fight?
Yeah, when he actually starts to believe that he is the one.
He's beginning to believe.
Yeah, I loved that action scene. That was honestly my favorite out of the Matrix, aside from him actually becoming the one.
I'm kind of surprised not a single one of us was like, oh, the bullet time with the Trinity kick.
I did mention bullet time, but it kind of soured on me because every movie, I swear to God, after the Matrix, for the next couple of years, that's all they did was do the bullet time.
I think it's worth mentioning I think this podcast is assuming anyone foolish enough to listen to it has already seen the movie. We're not
Right.
here to explain it to you babies.
No.
I don't know why. I mean, the movie's over 20 years old. If you haven't seen it, I guess I just don't know what to tell you. Like, I just assumed everyone has seen this movie. If you're
Yeah,
gonna be
like, what are you
watching
doing?
this,
Go out and watch The Matrix.
yeah,
And buy a trench coat like a normal person.
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be.
You know,
I mean,
get some
obviously,
kung fu training.
I think most neckbeards that watch that like just probably settled for the trench coat.
Yeah, probably. Whoa, I know kung fu.
Yep, I remember that. Do you want to learn more? And he's like, yes.
Yeah, that was honestly like my favorite. I don't know. I was young and I actually get beat up.
Did we all see that like when it came out in '99?
I'm trying to remember.
I did for sure because it was me, my brother, and dad.
Did you see it in theaters?
Yeah,
I saw it when it came out on video, but I think it was still '99.
yeah.
It was such a popular movie. Like it just entered the political zeitgeist.
I was a teenager when it came out, so when I saw it, I was like a typical idiot teenager that's like, oh man, we might actually be in it though.
There are still people that believe we're in it, so
I mean, yeah, like brain in a vat theory, sure. But like there was like a point in my life where I was like more than 50% sure that was the case just because I watched that movie.
yeah, it definitely fucked with people's minds.
No, I'll save that for
No, do it now. Do a thing.
do a thing. All right. Well, have they ever explained like exactly how like the first people got freed from the Matrix?
When they did the Animatrix, I believe that it's brought up in the Animatrix.
Yeah, like, oh man, let's talk about the Animatrix.
I mean,
Hard left.
Hard left.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I think they might have mentioned that in the Second Renaissance. I know way too much about the Matrix, but like my favorite time period of the Matrix, like timeline is that short period of time after the first movie release, but before the second one released, when they released a video game and they released Animatrix. They just existed to basically expand on the first movie, and it was great.
Okay, I feel like the Animatrix may be going a little bit down the rabbit hole for more of the people that are normies and don't know what that is.
Yeah,
That's a fair point. Okay,
so I feel like we need to explain that a little bit.
For those that don't know, the Animatrix was a collection of 9 short movies, predominantly all animated, or some of them are CG, but they're all like short Matrix adjacent movies.
Yeah, they kind of fill in the lore.
Yeah, 2 of them were like explicitly like the history of how we went from regular world 1999 to, oh crap, we're all in a Matrix now. And it was called The Second Renaissance Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, the Animatrix was well done. I feel like if people did like the Matrix and they never saw the Animatrix, they should watch it.
Yeah, they were all done by like different directors, I think. So like they were all very unique, their own thing and their own take on it. It was pretty great.
Now, I only ever seen the Animatrix once, and that was many years ago.
I mean,
I saw it a lot.
It was a long time ago since I watched it, but it definitely fills in some of those. It kind of explains some things that the Matrix just kind of leaves hanging.
Okay, because like I was always curious about that, as why or how like people started getting freed from the Matrix. Like,
well, they sneezed a second time. We've been over this.
Oh, okay, all right.
They glitched out. They just wake up in that machine egg like, holy crap, I sneezed my brains out, didn't I?
I can see it.
Yeah, it must have been very awkward for the first person to wake up and look around and be like, what the F is going on?
Or like, how do any of them like have the wherewithal to even consider starting, like mounting a resistance against the machines after they wake up? Because presumably the first few people that did this were all alone when it happened. And that kind of trauma would just I figure your brain would just shut down. Like, okay, I'm out. Time to take a nap.
Yeah, like, but so
back to the movie.
Yes,
I don't want to get too deep down this rabbit hole.
Want to stay on the track of the Matrix.
The rabbit hole. I see what you did there.
Yeah, you like that, didn't you?
Now, out of the first movie, overall, Who is your favorite character?
Uh,
Don't say Neo or Trinity.
what? It's my pick. I can pick who I want. Screw you.
I was actually going to say Morpheus.
Agent Smith.
Oh, shit. I should have picked Agent Smith. That was a good guess. He was so good.
Yeah.
Agent Smith was so good.
You're a virus, and we are the cure.
It was so good.
I'm going to enjoy watching you die.
Yeah. That was solid.
My favorite, honestly, would be Cypher.
Cypher, that asshole?
Yes, that asshole Cypher. Dude, with how he went about it and was able to get away with it, at least for a little while.
I was gonna say, didn't he like get blown up in the ship
Tank.
at the end?
Yes, by Tank, but like while he was in the Matrix, how he was setting everything up for them to get busted, like that was damn good. I actually really that, and he was always. I found him kind of.
I think he was like the down to earth character that was meant to speak to everyone watching the movie that was thinking, yeah, I'd probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, I think that is a pretty good way to describe like what he was for the movie.
But like, yeah, I like he did a good job with the role that he had.
It worked. I mean, you meet him and you're like, there's something a little off about this guy. What is it? But you aren't quite sure what it is.
I know what's off about him. He's Matrix racist.
Whoa.
Okay, like hear me out. You know, like when they're looking at the Matrix TV screen and it's all the little green symbols trickling down the screen.
Yeah.
One of the crew members was like, you know, if you look at it long enough, you can actually start to read it and actually see what's going on in the Matrix by looking at these green trickles, I guess. But Cypher was just like, I can't really make heads or tails of it. All I see is redhead, brunette, blonde, redhead. So like he's telling like Matrix code people that they all look the same to him.
Whoa. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to see where the racism comes in.
Back into the Matrix. So wouldn't that kind of contradict things a little?
I don't follow.
Cypher wanted to be plugged back into the Matrix.
Yes.
For turning over Morpheus. Like, if you wanted to get put back into the Matrix, would he really still be considered racist?
I mean, I'm not saying racist against the Matrix. I'm saying like that the people within the Matrix, when looking at the screen, just all look the same to him.
Yeah, I guess I see where he comes.
Matrix racist.
I guess that's where we're at now.
You had to bring that in, didn't you?
Yep.
Racist. I love it. Love it.
I'll probably regret asking.
Probably.
But like, there's questions for both of you, but more or less, I'm kind of curious as to what Travis would.
Okay, shoot.
What is one thing you think they could have fixed with them?
Like something that didn't make
problem that you like one issue that you had like with the movie itself.
Okay. Mine is pretty simple. Like you can only leave the Matrix through payphones. I didn't get it.
I think that was supposed to be like some sort of digital connection to the tube in their neck. I
guess, but it just never made sense to me.
Like, I mean, talking about like what's wrong with the Matrix. Like I love that movie. It's one of my favorites, but there is a lot that needs some work.
Well, I'm just like mainly talking like one specific like issue you had with the movie that could have been either addressed better or taken out entirely.
Neo's total lack of emotion.
Brutal.
Like the only really quotable things he says in the movie that people remember are like, whoa, and I know Kung Fu. And it's the reason I think those are quotable lines of his is because they're the closest line deliveries he has to sounding human.
Yeah, now that you do mention it.
He's a very blank slate character. Even like when he first wakes up on board the Nebuchadnezzar, he kind of like wobbles a bit and then pukes, and then he's just kind of fine. He takes it all in stride pretty well. I feel like any regular human waking up to that situation would spend a good while screaming and panicking.
You forget, he's the chosen one. What the hell, man? He's the chosen one.
I mean,
Like, that's just how they kind of wave away any, like, stuff. Like, oh, he's chosen one, man. I'm not saying it's a good answer, but that's kind of what they go with.
You know, you kind of took the same. You had the same thought as I do. Neo's lack of emotion. That was going to be my thing, sir.
Whoa, you stole this idea.
well, I took it. Can't take it back. It's mine now.
Well, then I guess I got nothing else because that was the only real issue I had with.
What about the issue of the prophecy itself? Just like even being a thing, really. Like the Oracle is a digital manifestation of the Matrix. You know, she's a program that has foresight. Now, I could accept foresight into the program, but she can foresee who's going to become the one before.
Yeah, before like the rest of the Matrix knows what the one is, I guess.
Well, like he lives a life outside the Matrix, right? Aboard the Nebuchadnezzar with the crew. Like events transpire
outside of the Matrix's
events,
control.
Right. And those events, depending on which way they sway, could have a butterfly effect into how he will act or behave or what he will do upon re-entry into the Matrix, which happens several times throughout the movie. He pops out of the Matrix, pops back into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how, when the Oracle sees him, can she know that he's the one or predict what's going to happen to him if there are events outside of her influence affecting how he may behave upon re-entry into the Matrix?
It's one of those things you just kind of have to accept with a movie. It's never gonna be perfect, I think.
Yes, for sure.
But like I said, it's the same thing like when I mentioned about how he needs to go through payphones. Like, they have cell phones. Like, why don't you just use the cell phone to get the hell out?
Right? I was always thinking that, but no, apparently it has to be a landline of some.
Yes, they just essentially just pulled that out of their ass and just like, oh, only landlines, bro. And I understand why they do it, because they need to add a certain amount of tension to what's going on. Because yeah, if you could just be like, oh, cell phone, I'm just gonna escape from the agents now. Like, I understand why they do it, but
yeah, so we can see Trinity not get run over by a semi.
It was a pretty cool scene, because you don't know, because it's at the start of the movie, so you have no idea what's going on the first time you watch it. You're just like, holy shit, you just got hit by that semi? Wait, what? What's going on?
Yeah, if ever there is a list of movies that require a second viewing, I feel like The Matrix and Fight Club would have to duke it out for the number one spot.
Oh shit, yeah, Fight Club also does the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what's going on when the movie starts.
What if The Matrix was originally a shorter length movie because they were going to use like the cell phones to get in and out of the Matrix, but then they're like, wait, this movie's only going to be like an hour long. Let's make them go to some landline instead.
I mean, I really always thought that the reason why they did the landline thing was because else it would be so the agents would no longer be a threat.
That is true.
Like, they had to go with landlines.
Case scene or anything, they could just pull out a phone and be like, "Well, I'm out, skis."
Yeah, there'd be no the tension is just lost if the people could just use landlines. I mean, that's why they did it, but it does feel like plot convenient that landlines are the only thing that worked.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Like, I'm not going to complain, but there is like that little bit of me that's like, I wish they could have got up. The problem is that if cell phones hadn't been invented yet, it would have worked perfect, because they'd been like, well, it's only landlines. But we were at that point. It came out in 1999. Cell phones were, I mean, not super popular at the time yet, but I mean, they existed. Even if it wasn't like the average person had a cell phone.
And hey, they got the cool flip phone.
Yeah, so it was a pretty cool, it was pretty futuristic that he had, because like he worked for like a really big business, I guess. Neil did, like he was in corporate. His boss was such a dick, wasn't he? Like, you don't respect authority, Mr. Anderson. And it's like, wow, this guy's such a douche.
You can choose to be here at your desk on time, or you can choose to not have a job.
Did you guys know that Morpheus's glasses were CG?
Really?
Were they?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I actually read that somewhere.
Really?
Morpheus's glasses were CG. They were fake. They weren't real.
Why only Morpheus? Like everyone wore glasses.
Well, his was the armless glasses that just sat on.
Oh shit! Yeah, they were. Fuck. Yeah.
And like, even like a lot of the running he did and shit like that and fighting, and they just stayed on there. Those glasses would have flown off.
I had no idea.
So yeah, like
I just would have figured they had a really painfully tight nose clip.
so, but no,
Okay.
apparently his glasses were actually fucking fake.
I had no idea. Wow. Okay, you blew my mind. I had never heard of this.
Yeah, I actually read it not too long ago.
Yep. I had no idea.
Yeah, I found that a little bit interesting information. Oh, hold on.
Can we talk about Switch dying in horror movie fashion?
I was actually working my way to that. Actually,
Like
Well,
when
that's quite a
Cypher's
segue from digital glasses to remember that time that dude died in horror movie style?
I mean, like Cypher's on the Nebuchadnezzar just offing people left and right, and they're all like hopelessly trapped in the Matrix, and they know what's happening, so they're just standing there around one another, like waiting until they're gonna die. And unfortunately for Switch, she knows it's coming because Cypher's talking to him like, "Well, you better fucking say goodbye to Switch," and Switch is just like, "Not like this."
not like this.
Yeah, and then the plug gets pulled, and she just ragdolls to the floor. And I'm kind of like, wow, that's an incredibly horrifying way to go.
Now, like that is like one of the worst ways to go. Like just that scene in general, just having to stand there and watch each one of your friends or crewmates get fucking knocked off one by one, like that is horrible. I would never wish to experience anything like that. But what was with Switch's character? Did she just not like wearing bras or something?
She was like Princess Leia, the bras don't exist in
space.
sci-fi.
Yep.
That was the one thing that like
The one thing that stuck with you about the movie were titties.
Well, no, just like really not many people addressed it.
I mean, like it's gonna come out on New York Times. This just in: Switch isn't wearing a bra, yo.
Hey man, who says you need to wear a bra in the Matrix? There's no requirement for that.
You know what you need to have in the Matrix, though? A banging fucking soundtrack. One of my favorite soundtracks.
Yeah, we hadn't talked about the soundtrack. The soundtracks were really well done. Yeah,
music was great.
There was only like one song in the first movie, I think, that was like a song that existed outside of the movie. You know what I mean? Like not a song just composed for the movie.
Yeah.
And it was Dragula by Rob Zombie.
Yep.
In that club when Neo goes to meet Trinity. And then like all the composed music that was made for the movie was all by, I want to say, Junkie XL. I could be wrong, but it was all so good. Like I can just listen to that while I'm playing video games.
If I'm not mistaken, if I can find it, I think I still have all 3 discs for the soundtracks to like the Matrix.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like wait, like the music discs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost mine a long time ago because it turns out I have all 3 YouTubes for that.
All 3 YouTube.
Because you said all 3 discs. It's a callback joke.
So bad.
I got
that was
where
a
you were
dad joke.
going with it.
Fucking
Damn dad jokes.
It was bad. It was bad. Never do
It's
that.
Grounded. You are grounded.
Never do that again, boomer.
Go to your room.
You can't make me. I'm old.
No, you're not.
Oh, you are going to go to your room, and when you get to your room, you're going to understand why you went to your room.
Okay.
It was another thing from the Matrix. God, I'm not a boomer. You're just dumb.
Sorry, it's been kind of a long day.
What else do we need to talk about with the Matrix, boys?
No, nothing. That's all of the Matrix.
Well, not all. I mean, if we want, we could still cover the plot.
Oh my god, we have to cover plot of a movie that. Well, I thought we already decided. Like everyone already knew what the plot was of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess we could, but I don't see like we're doing this now like halfway through like a podcast. Like, by the way, this is the plot of the movie, guys.
Plot good, go see.
Yes, plot good, go see. But no, like I was just. It's been a very long day apparently for me.
I've just been drinking. I don't know what your excuse is.
I worked.
That is a good excuse.
But
I mean, we can talk more about the Animatrix.
yeah, I mean, we basically covered everything we really wanted to
there's what else do we really need to cover? Like, talk about our favorite scenes, our favorite characters. Like, I don't know. I've been drinking heavily.
Spoiler: Snape dies at the end.
Oh shit, Snape does die at the end of that movie. Shit.
Yeah.
But like, no, seriously, like I don't want to like have to edit out like the last 10 minutes of the video if we're actually done. I mean, if we covered all of the movies, like I feel like this would be a lot longer.
Yeah, but I'm thinking maybe could happen.
I mean, the thing is, like, I feel like we could really drag it out, but I just like, if we're gonna do, I don't know how long we really want these podcasts to go.
Trinity killed an agent in the first movie.
Oh shit, yeah. And I mean, how the hell does that work? Nobody kills agents. What the hell?
Like it was an awesome scene, right? Like they totally built it up, but there was like zero fanfare afterwards. Like Morpheus earlier on in it was straight up like everyone who stood their ground against an agent has died.
Yeah, like they really build that shit up.
And then Trinity's just like, dodge this, pulls the trigger, dead agent. And then they just kind of brush themselves off and move on with their day.
Yeah, like that wasn't a big deal.
It was a great scene. They built it up perfectly. And that shot of her just zoomed into her, like pointing the gun like right into the camera, like dodged it. It was so perfectly done and badass. And it was great. And then they're just like, all right, let's move on.
And then you get this amazing helicopters.
The helicopter scene was good, yeah.
Dude, just Neo with a fucking minigun.
It was pretty good, yeah. Like, I can't complain. But no one picked that as their favorite scene of the movie, so it couldn't have been that good. Guys, God.
Right.
I mean, the movie was almost 2 hours long, or it was about 2 hours.
I think it was very close to ours, actually, but...
Yeah. I mean, you figure in credits and stuff, it was over 2, I think.
Given with what Travis, Morpheus is a hypocrite. He says
shit.
That has gone up against an agent has died. Well, he went up against an agent, survived. Trinity's gone up against an agent, survived. And
Neo doesn't count.
Yep, he's special.
He was supposed to win.
Yep, he's a special boy because he's like he's Matrix Jesus.
Still, but Morpheus and Trinity. Well, if nobody lives going up against an agent, they're damn lucky.
But not only did they go up against the agent, they survived against the agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like the film kind of builds the agents up a little bit too much at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
since they killed them. I mean, I wouldn't say they're easy fights, but it's like, okay, well, no one's ever done it, and now suddenly 2 people just do it. Okay.
You could reintroduce them into the franchise just about any which way, because it all took place in a computer anyway. And some people even theorize that even outside of the Matrix was still inside the Matrix. So
I know. I've seen those videos, and it's a very good argument that no one ever actually escaped. It's just it's like what the heck was that movie called? That time where he keeps going into his dreams, like deeper levels.
Inception.
Inception. It's an Inception style thing. I wish I'd remembered it, so I wasn't. Right.
And they even kind of set it up in the second movie. Just expositing story about how the Matrix is regularly rebooted.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely possible that they are just within that they just went to a different level of the Matrix. Is all we've really achieved here. Yeah, I mean, who the hell says anyone really escapes?
Yeah, like...
Of course, there are people that never watched Inception, so they have no idea what the hell we're talking about, but, whatever, it's fine. That's also a pretty good film. At least it's worth one watch.
Yeah. Worth a race.
That's why I said a watch. I didn't say a buy. But yeah, it could. We could definitely. That's what it could have been. On the movie was also pretty successful. You know, it was a $63 million budget, but they made $465 million at the box office. So
that is right. It
did pretty good. Pretty good. You know, for $400 million profit, unless you're Disney, in which case Disney would consider that a failure. You gotta make at least $1 billion, guys. God. Although maybe it did, if we figure out like inflation, maybe they did. Maybe it would be like $1 billion in today's money. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm too lazy to check that out.
Yeah.
Do the inflation calculator for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
$53 million after inflation?
What do you mean?
Oh, no, that's how much money Keanu made.
That's pretty good. That's not a bad amount. I'm glad for Keanu.
I donated majority of it to.
Oh, but that's 460 million worldwide. It wasn't just in the United States. I won a bunch of awards that time, and I remember, like I said, everyone just did the stupid bullet scene for years after. I can't give it up. I can't give up the bullet scene just because, like, it's like, oh, this is so new and original. Let's just copy it now for the next decade in every movie. And it's so annoying because it's like, oh, stop it. Let the Matrix, leave the Matrix alone. Stop doing it.
Okay, it says the Matrix made over $460 million worldwide with a budget of 63.
Yeah, that was back in but I was trying to figure out if you figured in inflation, but I was too lazy to figure in inflation.
I don't know, man. $2.
Oh shit, they only made $2 more. Inflation hasn't been that much, has it?
No, it's fine.
You know, we never talked about the red pill. What the hell, guys? Well,
the red pill just kind of seems to be like.
Well, I'm just saying, it was probably like that. It escaped from the movie and became just like an internet thing.
Which pill would you guys?
Ooh, that is interesting. Which pill would I take?
Well, if I get to pull a cipher and decide the conditions of my reality, blue pill all the way.
They just make you rich and famous. You're willing to go with it,
right? Yeah.
Because you can't tell the difference between that and actual reality.
I don't even need to not tell the difference. I could know. I don't need a memory erase. I don't know why he wanted that. He's like, I don't want to remember anything. Nothing. And I'm like, that part would scare me, having a memory wipe. No, just plug me back in. I don't care if I know it's all a fun ride. If I can't tell the difference really while I'm in there, if it's that good.
And then you'd essentially just have superpowers because you remember what was going on. So you wouldn't have to worry about dying in an accident. Oh shit, there's this car coming at me, bro. And then you just die because you'd still have all your memories. You'd be like, I'm in the Matrix, and you just fly out through the window or some bullshit before that car hit you. And you'd be like, oh man, I'm glad I never gave up on all my memories of before I entered the Matrix. That would have been awkward if I just died because I decided to be dumb enough to erase my memory.
Just put me in the Hugh Hefner simulator, please.
So that's what it is. You were actually Hugh Hefner this whole time.
Yep.
So Terry, what pill would you take?
Shit.
Come on, this isn't even a choice. The red pill sucks. You take the red pill, you wake up in a ship prison with rats eating slop and having to fight some war that you probably don't even want to be a part of. And even if you don't, even if you go to Zion and live the civilian life, it still sucks. You live in a cave.
No, I have to think about it, man. I like to live in reality, sir.
I mean, if you go into the Matrix, though, if you plug back in and you know that it's not real, wouldn't you just still be okay with it? If I were in there, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this isn't real, but I've seen real. I don't feel robbed of real. Real sucked.
No, I think I would take the red pill. I would YOLO.
You weird man.
Yep, I would fight the power. All
right, you go fight the good fight. Just after you win, don't frickin' unplug me.
I think I would unplug everyone, and then I would ask them, just kind of want to stay in here, bro. I won't force anyone.
I'd be you'd wake me up. That's fair. You could wake me up and then ask me, and I'd just be like, do you guys have Pornhub yet? No.
It's gonna take a bit.
Plug me back in. You guys got PS5s? No?
Plug me back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Billy, what would you go with?
No, you see, like I never gave it like the kind of thought Travis did for the blue pill.
I've given this movie a lot of thought.
So like I always thought if I was ever given the option, I'd take the red pill. But Travis's idea sounds a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, like when you really think about it, like think of all the things you take for granted that you just don't have inside. Air conditioning,
So I'd take the red pill.
steak. Even Cypher makes that point.
But how do you know what actually tastes like steak?
Because I already know what steak tastes like.
But the robots
And
don't know
if I
what
were-
taste steak. Oh Jesus,
It's getting hard.
steak tastes like. That's some of the tongue twister actually. Like they don't have a clue. They don't have taste buds. They have no idea. They're just essentially trying to make a
Right.
copy.
So like, okay then, so like you unplug me, and if my curiosity for steak is really that burning, then I'll be like, do you guys have cows? I don't think so, but let's say you do.
I mean,
I'd be like, cool, give me a bite of steak. I need to settle something in my brain, and then you can plug me back in.
I mean, they've got to have something. Like they never really do explain what they eat, do they?
Yeah, they do when they're on the ship. Well, I don't know if that's what they eat in Scion, but on the ship they have some awful looking pale oatmeal shit.
But there's got to be other things that survived the like nuclear holocaust.
I wouldn't consider it a nuclear holocaust. I'd consider it a pollution holocaust.
Cheney probably.
Well, that brings you in. That kind of brings us in the whole idea because they were essentially forced, like they had to make some changes to the movie that time. For like reasons because like the producers were a bunch of boomers, so they're like, we don't understand this whole computers and stuff thing. Like, how does that work? What's email?
That's why they were using landlines.
Yeah, like it was like Warner Brothers.
Like what? Like what? It's a phone.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that was actually part of Warner Brothers. Like they kept on like fighting them about even making the movie because they were like we don't get it. Like why would anyone watch this? I don't understand. Like what are you guys talking about? Because remember it came out in 1999, so computers were really just starting to take off at that point. Like the 90s are when they were becoming a thing. Like the internet, it's like the internet in parentheses was like a new thing. Like so yeah, like they were it's Warner Brothers, so these guys were probably like in their 60s and they're like, we don't understand what
computers
you guys are talking about.
Definitely like connected computers with internet was definitely still like a new thing to the zeitgeist in 1990. You've Got Mail came out in 98, I think, just the year before, and that movie came out, and its whole shtick was like, these two got together with an online relationship. Isn't that weird?
But yeah, like Warner Brothers made them make changes to the movies. I remember this because they just were like, no one's gonna understand what the hell's going on here. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, I know that it makes several changes to the movie.
Yeah.
I can't remember even I can't remember even all the changes they made, but yeah, I remember there was a lot of, they made a mess with a lot of stuff because they just didn't think people would understand like the whole computer thing. Like I said, they were super boomers.
Yeah,
they had no idea what was going on at Warner Brothers, which is so funny. I'm actually surprised they actually let them make the movie.
Yeah.
Is The Matrix the last thing Warner Brothers did right?
God, it might be actually.
I feel like since then all they've done is try to catch up to Marvel with comic book movies and just trip over themselves over and over.
But yeah, it must have been a hard sell to even get them to like do all this stuff. Like, oh, they're doing this stuff with computers. What are these kids? What's up with these kids nowadays? What's some stuff by the post office? Why would you even need a computer? Like, yeah, super boomers back then.
Apparently, there were some people out there back when the movie came out that were saying it was too violent.
It was pretty.
Movies.
There were a lot of really violent movies back in the 80s, though. Like Rambo, like the body count in Rambo was insane. I can't believe they're like, oh, this is too violent.
Right?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in the 70s.
I don't get it. That's God
like
No, there's always a new complaint
Yeah.
for something going on in movies.
Like I was like sitting there thinking, I'm like, when I actually read that one day that was one of the major complaints when the movie first came out. I'm like, there were way worse movies than
I think the only complaint about The Matrix that held any kind of water was the fact that some people watched the movie and then became absolutely convinced they were in The Matrix and then off themselves to get out of it.
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, I think there was like a couple cases of that. Not like a ton. It's not like there was this huge movement of people just like throwing themselves off a cliff.
But if they watched the movie, then they would know if they died in the Matrix, they'd die in real life.
Well, like if you're basing your continued existence on this plane on what a movie tells you, you're probably not thinking things through very much to begin with.
Like I said, that's one of those plot devices. They just they had to make it because if you just died in the Matrix and you just went back to your body in the real world, then there's no weight to what's going on. You can just throw yourself off buildings and shit. It doesn't matter. So yeah, they have to let you die in the Matrix and then die in the real world at the same time.
What was your guys' favorite Matrix meme or GIF?
Oh shit, we're going back to GIFs now. We are going full boomer.
I mean, it has to be What If I Told You, right?
Oh, god damn
it.
What if I told you that's the only goddamn meme?
Nice.
Still the whoa.
Yeah, well, it was very classic. Just whoa.
I know. But no, there had to be other Matrix than that.
I mean, there were like 3 or 4, but yeah. Like, you remember, this came out in 1999. So it kind of came out before like memes really took off. So the fact that there even are any memes for it kind of shows just how popular the franchise was. That people did meme it. Like years later after memes became popular, they're like, oh yeah, The Matrix. I'm going to meme that. Because how many old movies actually get memed?
Okay, I'm looking at a great meme right now.
We could
Welcome
go down
to
the meme
Memecast.
hole. We could go down the meme hole.
So I'm looking at a picture of John Wick up top, and it's captioned "Storming Area 51." At the bottom it says "Leaving Area 51," and it's just Neo stopping every goddamn bullet coming his way.
I don't get it.
I think I would need to actually see it to get it. But yeah, the What If I Told You probably was the most popular of the Matrix memes.
All right, so I guess it's settled. That's the most popular
I'm
Matrix
actually gonna go.
meme.
I'm gonna go with Trav on this one. Like I do feel like What If I Told You.
We've accomplished what we set out to do.
Just one. Oh, it just outdid the other memes because that is the one I do see the most of.
What if sleeping is just the time it takes for tomorrow to load?
What time are we at? How long have we been at this?
I don't know. I don't pay attention. Like I don't really have like a time limit or like a minimum or a maximum or anything. I'm just kind of like whenever we run out of stuff to talk about. Like it's not a big deal.
If you want to like dip in a little with the Animatrix, we can. I haven't seen it in so long.
I found a great meme. It's that History Channel guy, and he's like aliens. You know, he's got his hands up, but it's What If I Told You, and then it's aliens.
Dude, I love the Animatrix. Let's talk about the Animatrix. I can do that forever.
I feel like the Animatrix, like it was, like when they released it, I do feel like it was kind of part of the Matrix. Like you should have watched the Animatrix before you watched the second movie, because it does kind of fill in like some of the lore and some of the gaps, maybe like some of your questions you had. And so when you go to watch the next movie in the franchise, like if you've watched the Animatrix, it does be like, okay, things make more sense to you.
Yeah, because especially with when you come across the one kid in Zion, he's like thanking Neo for saving him, and you're just like, wait, when did that happen? So remember, I had that same reaction one night watching the movie at Trevis's, and then he's like, oh, dude, you got to watch this, and he hands me the Animatrix CD. He's like, this will explain it all that you need to know, and I'm like, oh, all right, I'll watch it. And that was like the last time I watched it.
Oh man, I've seen it a bunch.
Like
it's so good.
I
most of it
stuff, But other than that, like there's like I just remember bits and pieces of some of the stories that were a part of it.
Every one of the stories was its own like self-contained thing, and it wasn't like part of a greater narrative. They were just self-contained stories that took place using that like Matrix universe, and like different characters every time, and it was all amazing.
Well, it
One
kind
of
of
them was just a straight up like 30-minute acid trip.
Oh, yeah, wasn't that the one with the dude that was the runner?
No,
oh, the runner
it was
one was pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, the runner one was good, but this is the one where like a group of like resistance fighters captures some machine in the real world, like just some not Terminator machine.
Oh yeah, okay.
They're trying to like not reprogram it. I think they're trying to like get it to experience emotion and empathy so that it becomes like sentient and voluntarily fights for them. That's my
Wow.
takeaway from it. Yeah, and they tell the story by like going through the inner machinations of the machine's like brain, I guess, and showing you how an AI would learn to feel by using just LSD fueled imagery.
Wow.
Yes.
Was that like one of the Renaissance ones?
No. It was its own. I don't remember the name. No, I do. Matriculated.
Matriculate. So like I
Yes.
think I kind of remember that one. Like after you kind of described it, I'm like, oh hey, yeah, that makes sense. I kind of remember that, but I
Yeah. If you Google image search matriculated, you'll get what I'm talking about. It's all just bright colors and psychedelic effects and stuff.
Yeah, that one was pretty trippy. But yeah, I do feel like the Animatrix, I know I'm going to bring it up again, it does fill in some of the questions you have.
Yeah, Second Renaissance covers so much of it.
Yeah, it's if you...
And it has some of my favorite ever, just like teenage edgelord imagery.
It feels very 2000 edgelord-y, doesn't it?
It's hyper edgelord, yes. It's like, oh, here's the humans dismantling the machines when they learn that they're a threat. So here's mass graves of mechanical skeletons. It's walking the line between human and machine, and you don't even know anymore what's right, what's wrong. Ah,
Yep, peak edgelord.
yes.
Peak.
As a teenager, I ate it all up, and it just kind of stuck with me. So now I can like recognize that it's edgelord shit, but I still love it.
Yeah, it's back when emo was still the thing.
what was the one? I think it was like the first short on the Animatrix. So like, if I'm not mistaken, I think the first one was like all CGI, and it was a guy and a girl sword fighting.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it.
I don't remember the order.
But then they ended up like they were the crew that got attacked or whatever.
Oh yeah, there was the one short movie that was directly related to like what was going on in the actual Matrix movies, and it was Final Flight of the Osiris.
Oh yes.
I think they were the ones that were trying to deliver the message to Zion that the machines were coming.
Yeah. It's like I think that one, and then there's one with a kid at school.
Oh yeah, that was the suicide one.
Yeah.
Yeah, kid's story. The kid starts seeing all the like Matrix glitches and like questioning what's real and what's not, and he's really depressed, and then he just jumps off a school building, and that is what he does. He doesn't get like unplugged like Neo style. He just hurls himself off the top of a school building, and then he wakes up to seeing Neo, and he's like, "Oh my god, I was right. I did it. You saved me." And he's like, "You saved yourself." It's like, wow, way to promote teenage suicide, you stupid assholes.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh boy.
Oh my, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, if you were mentally disturbed, like you're just like, oh man, is it real? Is it not real? And then you watch that shit.
I totally get that it wasn't their intention, that they were just trying to be edgy and sound really deep, But in the end, the main hero of the franchise told a kid who just threw himself off of a building that he, quote, saved himself.
Oh boy, yeah, you can't tell me that there wasn't at least one suicide that wasn't influenced by that.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoopsie.
Wasn't one of them, it was just a bunch of like young kids, and they essentially find like this like abandoned building and they go in it, and like the Matrix is glitching in there, and they're like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is weird. And so they keep showing up and they're playing around in the building because like gravity isn't working properly and stuff. And then finally the agents find out about it and they show up and they're like, yeah, we got to get this shit straightened out here, guys. Like,
that one was called Beyond.
I remember that one. Yeah, it was just like the kids and they're just like, this is so weird. And the agents are like, oh no, people are going to figure out what's going on here. We got to close this crap down.
That was at like the very end of it, and they just like, I don't think anything bad happened to the kid. Maybe something did. I don't remember.
I don't think they killed the kids or anything.
Most of it was just the director having this really fun exploration of like what could do in a world that glitches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the kids discover it and they just start like screwing around, and it's cute and fun, and it's a good
happy.
time.
It's just like a happy story after all the brutal murders and death and everything. It's just like, oh, this is nice to end it. Just this happy, innocent, like childhood thing.
Yeah, it goes to show just how wildly different the directors are, that you can have something like Kid's Story in there and Beyond.
Billy mentioned the track runner, which I always thought was really good. The guy runs so fast that he literally starts to break out of the Matrix, and he like freaks out and he's like, what the hell is going on?
And then his like legs start exploding.
Yeah, it was really cool how they did that one as well. It's like, this guy is so goddamn fast that he's literally breaking out of the Matrix.
Yeah,
I want to say the animation team for that.
It was so good.
Was the same one from like Aeon Flux.
Maybe it was so good. The animation was so smooth.
It might not be, but like the art style for World Record was, I think, like identical to Aeon Flux's artwork.
I don't know. We would have to check. But yeah, it was so cool how they did that one as well. Like all of the
artwork for that one and a few others in the Animatrix kind of reminded me of some artworks done in Heavy Metal.
In
Heavy Metal?
Yes.
Wait a minute, are we talking about Heavy Metal or Heavy Metal 2000? There's a difference.
Heavy Metal.
It's been so long since I watched Heavy Metal.
And some in Heavy Metal 2000.
How high were you when you watched Heavy Metal? I do not see this. I'm racking my brain right now. I'm like going through my mental list of all the Animatrix movies and the animation, and I'm like, which one looked like Heavy Metal? I got nothing.
Like, Heavy Metal came out in like the early 80s. Like, it didn't look very good. It feels like 80s.
It can't be Matriculated because that was CG. It can't be Flight of the Osiris because that was CG. It probably can't be Detective Story because that was all like black and white noir. I mean, the animated ones like World Record was kind of Aeon Fluxy. Beyond was sort of Studio Ghibli-y. I don't know. I don't even know what Kid's Story animation style was. That was really, really noodly.
All right, maybe when I watched Heavy Metal, I was a tad bit drunk.
You were watching Heavy Metal. You were on something, yeah.
So,
you don't watch Heavy Metal sober.
I've done it a few times.
Why? Why would you do that?
I wanted to see if it was truly bad.
It's pretty bad.
Is. Oh
it's
my god!
Bad. You don't want to watch that sober. But,
yeah, if you are just on something when you watch it, really great time. Sober, it's a freaking train wreck.
We're getting off the Matrix though, boys. Yeah, that's what this is supposed to be about. The Matrix, not about Heavy Metal. Which the Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000 could probably be their own episode. We could probably do an episode about that franchise,
right?
But that's some deep. That's like, I feel like that's deep lore right there. Like the average person has no idea what that is.
To do that for a podcast, I feel like would require me to watch it sober, and that's not a thing I want to do.
No, I don't want to watch that sober either.
I will stream it and we'll all suffer together.
Ah, shit. I don't want to do
That's
that.
sober though. You can't. That sounds like a bad time.
Okay. Here's what we could do. We could watch it, drink while we're watching it, and then do the podcast.
And have our explain our drunken recollections.
Once
Yes.
again, not part of the Matrix, guys. All I want to do is talk about how a man ran so fast that he broke out of the Matrix, and how the hell that
Right,
relates to heavy metal. I don't know.
His leg just straight up exploded internally.
Which was cool. Could I take a moment to also say about the CGI? If we watched it, we'd probably like want to stab our eyes out because I bet it looks terrible now. Because we're talking about we're talking about like 2000 CGI. I'm sure it looks really bad.
I think Matriculated still works in its effort to be like trippy.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back at it, the CG effects for it remind me a lot of what was it? Billy, the CG show on Toonami back in the 90s.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That was
Reboot.
Oh
Reboot,
my
yeah.
god! Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Reboot.
Oh.
Matriculated CG reminds me of Reboot.
For anyone that's never watched Reboot, you're not gonna get it. But
And also probably
hurts.
don't waste your time.
Yeah, not worth it.
I kind of want to watch Reboot now. I remember I was brought up in another podcast. I was brought up on a podcast I was watching like a year ago, and I was like, I should go back and watch Reboot. And I just never did because
Yeah, you know, probably
I don't
better
want
off.
to
It
ruin
did
that.
not age well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I have fond memories of that. I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of at with the Animatrix. I'm sure some of the CGI just looks awful. And I'm looking through rose-tinted glasses right now at what that was back in the day.
I mean, like, I think, like, Matriculated is trippy enough that the Reboot CG is, like, it aged fine because it's still an LSD-fueled nightmare dream. So it's so trippy it doesn't matter. But like Final Flight of the Osiris, that one's CG, and like I think it's still okay. I don't think it was as good as the Final Fantasy movie that came out roughly around the same time, but maybe slightly better than like a pre-rendered PS2 cutscene.
Oh man, we're going back to PS2 cutscenes.
I mean,
I just gotta.
pre-rendered. It's a little better than that.
But no, if you actually, I feel like we got to bring it back around to the Matrix because we spent like 20 minutes on the Animatrix. The actual like everything they did with bullet time and stuff, it still works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Surprisingly
it's still
well. I'm really surprised. I just watched it today to be refreshed, and I'm just like, wow, this is still really good. I'm amazed how well it's aged.
Oh yeah, like the Matrix. Hell, all the Matrix movies aged fairly well over the years. Except for the third one.
And the second one. like all the effects in the first one aged well because they used like a lot of really revolutionary and clever tactics for their filming. Like the shot of Neo falling backwards and dodging bullets that everybody knows. Like they set up like 100 cameras in a circle around him and like painstakingly edited like every single frame to make it smooth because it wasn't really video for that shot. It was like a flip book, you know, just shots.
Mm.
And they like just painstakingly tried to like mesh them together in such a way that it felt like fluid motion, and it worked. But then in 2 and 3, it's just like computers for everything, and they were not ready.
No. CG Neo.
Well, we'll get to that when we do the podcast for 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That's going to be a
yeah.
train wreck. Oh, God, that's going to be a train wreck. Because, yeah, I feel like the original held up better. But it's the same thing like with Jurassic Park. Like the original, I'm like, wow, that's, you know, they did a great job with that.
Yep.
And then you get to 2 and 3 and it's like, oh, no, like, what did you guys do?
Well, it's the lack of like practical effects and clever, you know, it's a lack of ingenuity. In the first one, there was CG, but usually it was for like when you're seeing the dinosaurs far away or when like the flaws of CG aren't really noticeable.
But I think it kind of
But up
shows
close shots, they had like animatronics and shit.
I think it kind of shows how this works with like first movies of these franchises is someone's really dedicated and they're like, I want to make this movie, and they make it. And then it does like way better than what anyone expects it to. And then you have those goddamn producers in Hollywood be like, well, the first movie did so good. You need to make a sequel. And they're like, we were never planning to make a sequel.
Because the first one's made by a guy that's like, I want to make something good. Mm-hmm. The second one is made by someone that says, I want to make money.
Even if they bring back a lot of the same people from the first movies, it always runs into that situation that it's...
Well, yeah, but a lot of them too are like, I want to make money.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, like when it comes, like they aren't even planning to make a second movie usually, and that's kind of where the problem lies. Is now they're forced. Well, I shouldn't say forced, but they're essentially like, you got to make a second movie now, and we'll pay you like $100 million. And they're like, I want $100 million. I mean, who wouldn't? And so then they make it, but the it's just not there anymore. Like the spirit, the fire, whatever you want to call it, the mojo is gone for later movies and a lot of franchises. Because now they're
I can enjoy like I can still enjoy like parts of Matrix 2 and 3, but I can't watch the whole movie anymore for either of them. I'll just go on like YouTube and be like, chateau fight scene, please.
But you do know you're gonna have to watch.
Yeah, we're gonna do a review for 2 and 3. They probably aren't gonna be as long as this.
Oh, my brain.
But we're gonna do it. Hopefully, they're gonna be relatively short, Trev. I don't see how we're gonna make that like even like remotely as close as long as this has gone.
Yeah, I could talk forever about Animatrix and the Matrix, but you get into the sequels, and that whole podcast is just gonna be like, Travis, what did you think? Don't watch. Bye.
I can't wait till the 2 and 3 are like 20-minute long videos.
Right?
Because
no, wait, I forgot. There was another song that the Matrix used. I'm sorry, I've been drinking and it just hit me.
You're a music guy.
Yeah, I am. I'm a bit of a music buff. It was It was a Rage Against the Machine song right at the very end. It was Wake Up.
That is clever. That's very clever.
Yeah, right when the camera like zooms into the phone Neo's talking to like talk to the audience, and I forget what he says. I'd remember, but I've been drinking. And then like the credits roll and Rage Against the Machine.
It does fit very well for the movie.
It was apropos.
Do we have anything else to really talk about? Like I feel like we covered the movie and like the Animatrix as well. I feel like it did need to be included.
We touched on a lot of random and unguided bullshit, and it was a good time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of tags.
But like closing thoughts.
Listeners will come in like, boy, I can't wait to hear what they thought about the acting. Not even fucking mention. This is just
we did mention
soup.
on the acting for like a minute. We talked about how Keanu Reeves his acting talent was wasted because Neil has no personality.
Yeah,
we talked about how his character lacked personality, but we didn't really address like Keanu Reeves' acting.
Everyone knows he's an amazing actor. He was just wasted. For his talent was wasted in this movie.
Yes, he was kind of a blank slate, which I'm hoping like the guys that are making Matrix 4 will take some cues from that and be like, okay, so we just put John Wick in the Matrix, right? And win. Yeah,
that's true. It would work. You know, we're gonna do John Wick at some point in the future.
Yep. John
yes.
Wick is...
That's gonna be so good. I'm gonna love that. Like honestly, I think I'm gonna like that more than I'm gonna like talking about the Matrix because he actually has a personality in John Wick.
Right.
I'm going to like a lot of things more than I'm going to like the Matrix sequels.
But I think they were planning with John Wick, they were planning to make 3 movies. So that's why it was well done with Matrix. I always kind of felt like they made the first movie and they're like, we'll see what, like they didn't really have a plan to make more movies.
The Wachowskis weren't expecting it to be successful.
It was probably the most successful movie of 1999. Like it was a blockbuster hit. So like
but they were expecting it to end up in the bargain bin at a Suncoast.
Yeah, they definitely were. You can't argue they weren't.
Like
also we've been mentioning shit like Suncoast, You've Got Mail, Heavy Metal. We're old. Okay,
we've gone back
to our viewers. We're old.
we've gone back 20 years into the past. And there's these kids
these
that
two
are
older than me, but
there's like these,
I'm also old.
there's an 18-year-old kid that's like, what the hell are they talking about right now? Like, they have no idea what like half of this was.
I wonder if 18-year-old kids nowadays would just be like, what's heavy metal?
What's Suncoast?
Not even
What's
not even
AOL?
like the movie. I'm talking about just like the genre. Like they just hear the words and they're like, what's heavy metal? And then we got to be like, well, you see, in the 70s and 80s, it was kind of a big thing.
But we're not even talking about heavy metal, the genre. We're talking about like an actual movie, though.
Yes,
It's deep lore. I feel like it's deep
incidentally
lore.
from the same time period.
I feel
I
like
do want to say this just because it's been on my mind since it was brought up. Reboot is getting a
God
reboot.
damn it. Yes, I heard about that. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, Billy.
I just had to.
I can't hold it.
I feel like I'm going to be in charge of trying to keep us from getting too far off the subject.
I can't hold it. Ah! No, I'm exploding all over this. Reboot's getting a reboot?
Yep, they're redoing it.
Why? That was such a pile.
And Netflix is fucking running the show on it.
You need to understand, Billy. Netflix will redo anything if they think it's going to make them money.
On the upside, there's no way the CG can be worse. Maybe Eiffel 65 does the CG, then it could be worse.
Hey man, Netflix will probably make it work. They've made a lot of shit work. Like they did The Witcher, which was really surprising, and everyone loved that. So
yeah, for sure.
Like I'm happy. I'm happy Netflix is taking old franchises and being like, hey, we're just we'll just see what happens. We'll make a season, and I'm like, that's cool.
I think we're
so if they made a Matrix,
that would be cool. I would actually be totally fine. Like that's where I was kind of trying to lead this conversation right now.
Yeah,
like,
good or bad, I'm watching all of that.
Like it'd be interesting to see like the other crews and how they're like surviving in the Matrix and all.
Yeah, they could just do a random crew and just have us follow them. And yeah, I think people
they already have like some lore for established crew in like the expanded universe stuff, like the video games, like Enter the Matrix. You could make a long running series about what were their names, Ghost and the girl.
So what you're saying is the one like billion
Steve,
chance that someone from Netflix is listening to this, we encourage them to make a Matrix series.
Are we not going to acknowledge that Matt just popped in to say Steve and left?
God damn it.
Okay.
Why is that asshole showing up in Discord if he's not even going to pop into chat?
Don't worry, listeners. We've got everything on lockdown.
Yes.
That'd been cool if you'd shown up though, and then you'd been like, I don't know anything about the Matrix, and then he could have just left. That'd been funny.
But as you were saying, Terry,
I was talking about how I think that they could totally do a Netflix series for the Matrix, and it would be amazing. It would, like, everyone would watch it. Now they would at least watch the first episode. I'm not saying it would be good, but everyone
the girl's
would watch
name was Niobe.
Thank you, Trav. Thank you for adding that. Just random piece of information when I'm in the middle of talking.
I thought it was pertinent to the conversation.
So yeah, they could totally just do like a team from the Matrix and like, oh, we escaped and now we're just riding around on the ship and fighting robots.
Yeah, and it should be about Ghost and Niobe, but in a show where I don't have to worry about clunky controls.
Yeah, I think it would work. That would be great. Now that we've been brainstorming and drinking for nearly an hour and a half. Now this is what's come out of it. This is what's come out of it. We got
to wrap this up. No one's going to click on a podcast that's over like an hour and be like, "Yeah, I'll sit down for that."
Well, I'm going to edit it and shorten it up.
I mean, we'll maybe take out maybe 5-10 minutes worth of content. I'm sure there was a couple times there things got kind of slow.
Yeah,
but
like there's areas.
Trav, you seem to underestimate people's abilities to spend 2 or 3 hours listening to a podcast. People will. And plus, our whole Netflix idea, who would not want to watch all the way to the end to hear about our master plan to do a Netflix special?
Right? We could just sit down and just talk about it one day and
just be like, oh yeah, on the Netflix special. And everyone's like, oh my God, they're doing a Netflix special, and it's us just talking about how awesome a Netflix special would be. They'd be like, fuck these guys.
Yeah, if any big like news organization just like picks this up from tags and starts announcing rumors about a Netflix Matrix show because of our bullshit, I will eat my shoe.
No,
I will eat it. I swear to you, if that happens, I will eat it.
I would hope that, like I said, I'm just hoping that someone from Netflix, like I said, a 1 in a billion chance, they listen to this, might only listen to it, but they get to this point in the podcast and they're like, that is a great idea. And then they run to Netflix. Netflix is like, will it make its money? And they're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure, well, everyone loves the Matrix.
These guys have had a few ideas.
I mean, I'll probably chop it up and put it in a soup or something, but I'll eat it.
I'm just saying, like, it would definitely work. I mean, look at the Mandalorian.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
I think we probably should wrap it up. Like, I don't think you're gonna cut out a half hour.
I mean,
although Terry, I do agree with you that I probably am underestimating people's ability to listen to podcasts because I'll listen to very long ones.
Was our thoughts about the Matrix.
Yeah, fuck it. It was awesome.
The Animatrix.
It wasn't bad.
Great movie. Go watch it.
And you've got mail. Don't worry. I got our closer, guys. I can close this out. You ready?
Okay, do it.
Okay, because I couldn't remember before, but I got it now. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.